Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Delta Dental of New Jersey. Everyone deserves a healthy smile. NJM Insurance Group, serving New Jersey's drivers, homeowners, and business owners for more than 100 years. TD Bank. United Airlines, connecting people, uniting the world. PSE&G, committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future. St. Joseph's Health, world-class care just around the corner. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And by Caldwell University. Promotional support provided by NJ.com. Small news, big news, true Jersey. And by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at it.
Life without dance is boring.
I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always something to learn.
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No.
People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
That's a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are pleased and honored to be joined by Briana Vannozzi, who is the anchor of NJ Spotlight News. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Steve. You got the name right, so we're on a good start here. How are you?
Are you implying that some people get Italian last names incorrect? Is that right?
Never. Not in New Jersey, anyway. We're safe here.
Yeah, we are. And by the way, put things in perspective. Briana, a group of us led by Neil Shapiro and John Servideo and Bob Feinberg and others in 2011 were involved in the creation of NJTV News, such an important media platform for so long. This transition, this collaboration, this partnership between NJTV News and NJ Spotlight, describe it, not just the rebrand, but the difference it makes in the news you and your colleagues present every night.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was referencing there. We've obviously rebranded. We are NJ Spotlight News. We're doing something, Steve, that I think a lot of media outlets have been talking about for the last decade, but haven't actually figured out how to do, which is how do you combine digital, multi-platform journalism with broadcast news? So we have joined forces, finally, of all times during a global pandemic when everyone's working remotely. But hey, that's what reporters do, right? We adapt. And we are now bringing the people of New Jersey news via every platform you can think of, all 24 hours a day, essentially. This is something that I think there was no better time, really, when you think about the need for it, the need for information during everything that's happening so that folks can make informed decisions. Now we have more reporters, more digital options, more hands and feet on the ground than we ever had before. You know, public television, it's a mission, right? And it
Absolutely.
is part of our charter to serve the community. That's, I think, how we all see it. And so this merger couldn't have happened at a better time in some ways, because we're all here, because we're driven to help and to serve and to provide the community with that. And somehow, despite everything, I think it's been absolutely our most shining moment to bring all of the talent together.
Yeah, and let me do this. Let me plug NJ Spotlight News. And I apologize for thinking that the pronunciation issue was about Italian last names.
That's normal, though.
Yeah, well, that's where my head's at sometimes. But that being said, NJ Spotlight News, 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m., 11 p.m. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. And that can be a little tricky for folks. I think for a long time. Yeah, from the days of when New Jersey Network was the anchor television, public television station in New Jersey for decades and decades, I think it was confusing for folks that we only cover New Jersey. You know, folks want that. We hear it from viewers all the time. We've been able to capture a lot more of an audience during this time because people want specifically New Jersey news. But I think for many, many decades, there was this confusion about where to turn because we are a different channel on different broadcast platforms. So now we have, we're really solidifying ourselves both in the digital internet market and on broadcast. And I think that this is really the start of a whole new beginning.
You know, Briana, we've known each other for a long time. And, you know, it's so interesting when you've been in this business for a while, you've been in it for a few years and done great things, but veterans like myself, our colleague, Michael Aaron, who has contributed so much to public broadcasting in this state, in this nation, when we see younger people like you, who I remember when you were getting into the business, I remember when you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do and who you wanted to be and the contribution you wanted to make. And we had so many conversations. To see you back on September the 9th, I believe, be announced as the anchor. What I'm curious about is that journey was a long and arduous one. What did it mean to you, particularly replacing an icon, a giant in our business, Mary Alice Williams? What did it mean to you personally, not just professionally?
Yeah, those are some shoes to fill, right? I recall sitting with you, Steve, back in Montclair at a restaurant, The Office. Yeah, talking about my future. And for me, I think it was one of those things that I always felt in my bones, but I wasn't quite sure when or how it would come to fruition, but I just felt it. Even times when I felt pulled to leave New Jersey, maybe leave news and go in a different area of production, I couldn't. I mean, a colleague once said to me, you either are this thing or you're not. And
what is this thing, Briana?
am.
Briana, what is the thing?
It's my oxygen. News, delivering folks important, vital information. This entire journey has been so poignant in a lot of ways because, you know, I stepped in March when we went remote and spent nights, months on the phone with viewers, on Facebook with you know, our audience as they were sobbing, crying because maybe they had family members in a nursing home, in jail. They couldn't go visit them. They didn't know what was happening. How do I get information? Where do I get a test? What do I do? I'm siphoning gas from my tractor so that I can put it in my car to drive to work because I can't get through to unemployment. And in that moment, I realized, you know, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. There's nothing else in the world I can imagine doing. And so that moment in September, to be honest with you, I didn't think it would feel completely different because I have been doing this now for months and I'd been filling in for Mary Alice for years. It felt entirely different. I just feel really proud of our team. They do so much work. We are so small but mighty. We somehow managed to pull off productions that I think major networks wouldn't even tackle with the amount of folks, the size that we have. And it is a real feeling of pride. My family, I'm born and raised in New Jersey, went to college in New Jersey. My family's rooted here. My husband's family is rooted here. So I feel so proud to be able to sit here every night and represent New Jersey for all of us.
One more quick question about the role of the media. We're taping this program on the 22nd of October. People who watch us know that we don't try to be timely. We refer people over to NJ Spotlight News, to Metro Focus for a whole range of things going on a day-to-day basis, policy, political questions, economic issues, the environment, et cetera. But on a personal and professional level, when people forget about the presidential election, it'll turn out the way it turns out. The term fake news, your reaction?
It's tough. Sometimes I joke that we have the most hated job in America or the most loved job in America. Wouldn't you agree? We spend painstaking hours fact-checking, going through stories, vetting sources. And I think that when you are a savvy consumer and when you watch shows like yours or like NJ Spotlight News, I think you know what you're getting. But this is a time when public television stations and commercial and online entities alike are being decimated. I mean, local news is taking a huge hit right now. And this is when you need it. You need to know what your town council is getting as far as federal dollars, state dollars, county dollars to help you and your family in your plight or whatever you're tackling right now. So I've watched the landscape change a lot in the last 13 years or so. Not the least of which, because when I started in 2008, we were still using faxes, which doesn't sound, for folks who've been in it, you probably laugh, but I think the speed with which technology has changed in the last decade blows everything out of the water. And so the need to be fast and accurate, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of pressure and work, but our team, your team, you rise to the occasion. And it's remembering and going back in your mind that it's about the accuracy. So even though everything around us seems to be changing so quickly, and it is, our job is still the same. We're still journalists. We still go back to the same mantra, to the same standards that we were taught, that we preach, to students now. And I think when you stick to those basics, you have yourself on good footing.
Every night, Briana Vannozzi and a terrific team at NJ Spotlight News at 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m., 11 p.m. Check them out. Check Briana out. Briana, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And public broadcasting, the PBS system overall, and in particular NJTV and the team at Spotlight News, we're fortunate to have you out front leading the charge. Thank you, Briana. Best to you and your family.
Thank you, my friend. See you soon.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
To watch more One-on-One with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are honored to be joined by our longtime friend, Heather Andersen, President and CEO, Special Olympics of New Jersey. Good to see you, Heather.
Nice to see you too, Steve. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, always. Listen, we've had a partnership for a while. We try to promote what you do because we care about what you do and you make a big difference. The last time we were together was a couple months ago, Essex Fells Country Club, a golf outing sponsored largely by Delta Dental, right?
Correct, yes.
Now, here's the thing. We're trying to raise money. We did raise money. I was honored to host it. But how tough has it been raising money for Special Olympics in a virtual world?
It's been challenging. We definitely have had to be creative and innovative in a lot of our events. Fortunately, golf was a sport that a lot of New Jerseyans were continuing to participate in the nice weather, but a lot of our events went virtual over the summer and continued into the fall. So, we're fortunate because we have a loyal army of great donors and supporters that have continued to support us through these challenging times. But again, it's tough. It's definitely tough.
But the weather was pretty good then. Now we're moving into the winter months. What happens then? Is it fundraising virtually?
We're continuing to, fundraise, great corporate support. We're so pleased to have partners that are sticking by us right now. And then really starting to be innovative and planning for, our plunges next year into 2021. Virtual, hopefully in person, but again, it's just that we're pivoting right now in terms of being prepared as best we can for the challenges that we're going to have at the time, whether it's in person or virtual. So we're really planning parallel events right now.
One of the things that struck me every time I've been involved with you, every event we've ever had, is the athletes, the Special Olympic athletes. They're special. They're not just talented, but they're tenacious and they're courageous. What are they facing, most of the Special Olympic athletes, during COVID?
Well, again, I use that word challenging. Starting in mid-March, we had to cancel our spring games and all of our summer games qualifiers and our summer games, which impacted thousands and thousands of lives of our athletes and their families, young and old. And, remote is great, and we're trying to connect with them as best we can, but we talk about social distancing right now. The population that this mission serves, they're more socially isolated now than ever. and trying to make sure that they're continuing to connect with friends. We're trying to get their coaches to connect with them and do remote training. We're doing remote fitness. We're doing anything we possibly can to keep that connectivity going and that social interaction, because they, you know, they're missing that right now, and the concern is that they're not moving, and that fitness and that training isn't happening the way it would be in person. We are doing some in-person training in sports like golf and cycling, and soccer skills, but again, it's impacting some, and some have chosen to come back in person, but many aren't. So it's a huge challenge right now for us going into the winter months to try to continue to connect and to continue to motivate a population that, you know, really wants to get together again.
The other thing that always strikes me is that when I've hosted these fundraising events for you and the great team at Special Olympics, is the families of these athletes. What are they facing?
Well, they're facing, you know, a change of routine right now, a change of trying to understand, you know, some of our athletes are frontline workers and still working in the companies like supporters like ours, like ShopRite and Wawa's. Some of them are in group homes, our athletes, and they haven't been able to see their families. So the families are facing challenges such as that. And then again, many of the day programs have been canceled. They're starting to come back slowly, and the routines are not there, as well as, you know, families. All of us have had challenges right now just because of remote working and things that aren't available to us right now. So again, you know, New Jersey, Special Olympics New Jersey is doing our best to connect with the athletes, but the families as well, to support as best we can during these kind of challenging, crazy times.
By the way, real quickly, you mentioned some of the funders, those who keep you going in your organization and support these athletes. But the mutual support that we have is with Delta Dental of New Jersey and RWJ Barnabas Health, and I believe United Airlines. Just want to acknowledge that. Final word that you want to send to everybody watching with who have children, who are physically capable of doing a lot of the things that some of the athletes that you have do, but they're challenged in a different way. What message would you send to everyone else right now?
You know, really, don't forget that we're here. You know, if anybody's interested or ever wanted to get involved with Special Olympics New Jersey or understand how they can support and help and volunteer. And volunteer. Now is the perfect time. Go to our website. There's lots of information. And when we start coming back, which we will, we're going to come back stronger than ever. We need an army of volunteers, whether you want to coach or you want to come out for a day to support a great group of athletes that just want to showcase who they are, their talents, and their abilities.
Heather, thanks so much for joining us. Best to you and your colleagues at Special Olympics.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
To watch more one-on-one with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Welcome back, folks. Steve Adubato here, the New Jersey Hall of Fame. You know, it's an important organization. The people who get inducted into it from all different fields, from public service, arts and entertainment, arts and letters, enterprise, all kinds of areas. It's a really interesting organization, and the chairman of the board is with us right now. Jon Hanson is chairman of the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Good to see you, Jon.
Nice to see you again, Steve.
Jon, you know, as we do this program on the 22nd of October, you just finished, and I just watched the broadcast, a remote Hall of Fame ceremony. And I've also been there for and hosted part of the in-person Hall of Fame. How much different was it this year?
It's interesting you asked the question. We get more people saw the induction ceremony of the New Jersey Hall of Fame probably this year. They took the last 11 years. However, and that I think was nice for those people who were featured. I don't think it was the same for those who were also inducted, but who were just had their name mentioned in the picture of them, which leads us to what we're probably going to be thinking about doing, is do both in the future.
Describe that. What could that look like, Jon?
You could take the program we've done this. I've been involved in the College Football Hall of Fame for about 30 years. You actually, you do the show, and if it's not on the same day, you edit it accordingly. So that's one way. Or you could just do the whole thing live. You do the show what you're featuring, but you make sure that everyone feels, gee, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I was recognized. They don't necessarily, all the people would not be on the television set, as you may have seen. I think we inducted 26 people, and that you couldn't possibly have that much television time.
You know, it's so amazing, Jon, how many people, just let me throw some names at you, right? Folks watching right now, and by the way, the website for the New Jersey Hall of Fame will be put up as we speak to Jon Hanson, the chairman of the Hall of Fame right now. Go on that website to find out more about the folks who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. But just this past year, check this out. One of my favorite all-time actors, Danny Aiello. John Amos, another great, remember Good Times? Roots, John Amos. Anne Hathaway, Cissy Houston. I remember I interviewed Cissy Houston when Whitney Houston was inducted after her passing. And it just goes on here. Flip Wilson. How about public service? Sister Jane Brady over at St. Joseph's. She's connected to St. Joseph's Health. Rick Barry, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Jerry Cooney, a great boxer. How about Eli Manning for the Giants, Super Bowls? So many other people, including Stephen Crane. I'm born and raised in Newark. Stephen Crane Village, an extraordinary writer. How the heck do you and your colleagues, the staff, Jon, and the judges, how do you make the determination as to who's nominated and who's selected?
Not an easy process. There are many people who are not in the Hall of Fame that I believe eventually will be in the Hall of Fame. What we tried to do this year was, since we know we had limited time, go back and look at some people, and one or two that I thought of that got inducted this year. Former Governor Driscoll. For all the young people in this state, we probably would not have had the New Jersey Turnpike if it were not for Governor Driscoll.
Who else did you have on that list that you talked about?
Well, Mort Pye. Do you remember Mort Pye?
How about the great editor of the Star Ledger for many, many years, that Mort Pye?
That is that Mort Pye, and I can remember when I was involved with the New Jersey Sports Authority, you want to get something done in this state, especially in the Meadowlands, you went to see Mort Pye. And so he is someone that probably should have been in some years ago. So the answer is, it is very difficult to honor everyone. You need to do it somewhat like baseball does. You need an old timers committee that probably looks at it every 10 years or so and see if we miss somebody that should be in there. But so it's difficult because we've had some very outstanding citizens here in New Jersey, people born in New Jersey, and I'm happy to see candidly that Eli not only won here for the Super Bowl with the Giants in New Jersey, but he's staying to live in New Jersey. So I think that's a good testament to us.
It sure is. Jon, in the time we have left, let me ask you something. Are you ever surprised at how many well-known, impactful, and influential people are from New Jersey?
That you did not know. You know,
You didn't know.
you didn't know that they were from New Jersey. I mean, Jack Nicholson is a good case. I mean, he didn't make his fame in New Jersey, and that's one of the things that's important. If you're born in New Jersey, you're qualified to be in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. And if you made your stripes in New Jersey but weren't born here, you're qualified to be in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Well,
Jon, let me just say this. I know many media entities, including our partners at NJTV, were involved as media partners. And I just want to say this. We'll continue at our not-for-profit production company, the Caucus Educational Corporation, to feature the work that you and your colleagues are doing at the New Jersey Hall of Fame, because the more people that know about it and go on your website and learn more, the better it is for the state. Jon Hanson, the chairman of the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Jon, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. All the best, Jon.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Adubato. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Delta Dental of New Jersey, NJM Insurance Group, TD Bank, United Airlines, PSE&G, St. Joseph's Health, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, and by Caldwell University. Promotional support provided by NJ.com and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
NJM Insurance Company has been serving New Jersey policyholders for more than 100 years. But just who are NJM's policyholders? They're the men and women who teach our children, the public sector employees who maintain our infrastructure, the workers who craft our manufactured goods, and New Jersey's next generation of leaders, the people who make our state a great place to call home. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.